Hi, I'm Randy Hollenbeck, and this is the Music Roundtable. Today on the show, we have Aria Fowler, vocalist for the rock band The Other LA.
How are you doing?
Can you tell us how did you start singing?
Well, honestly, I've basically been singing my whole life. It's funny because I have flashbacks, me being 4 years old, like singing along to the Evanescence album "Fall," and that was my favorite, one of my favorite albums. It still is, It's just I've always been singing my whole life, and I just don't see myself doing anything else. So I can't imagine a time where I haven't been singing.
Did you take any voice lessons or anything? Or
As I got older, I did so I can become a better singer. One of my favorite vocal teachers is actually he lives here in Nashville. His name is James Lugo. He actually used to be the vocal coach for the contestants for American Idol. So he's been teaching Kelly Clarkson, Carrie Underwood, like all these awesome stars that were on American Idol, which is freaking awesome. He's still one of my favorite vocal teachers I've ever had.
how many years did you take lessons from him?
I would say maybe a year and a half, probably. Like and he's a rock singer too, because for the most part, I would go to these vocal coaches and they were either like pop or classical, and I was like, I don't really want to sing like this.
How did you form the band The Other LA?
Well, I was in high school, it was my freshman year, and I was only there for like a month and a half because I just didn't do well in a public school environment. So I found some musician friends who wanted to start a band as well. And at first, we were just some emo cover band. We played Paramore, Evanescence, Bliley, Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. But then I think 2 months in it, I wanted to start writing like original music, and my bandmates agreed. So that's how we really started to get a name for ourselves. And we were all still in high school, so we didn't really know what we were doing. But we decided to write original music, and that's when more people actually came out to our shows because we're like, hey, we're not a cover band anymore.
And that was in Nashville.
This was actually in Louisiana because the name The Other LA, instead of Los Angeles, we're from Louisiana, The Other LA. So we actually moved to Nashville about 3 years ago, but I've been living in Louisiana for like 7 to 8 years actually. That's how we got started.
Okay, so the whole band moved to Nashville.
Well, actually, just my guitar player and bass player. The drummer we had, he just had a wife and family, and he just couldn't make the move, which was understandable. So we've been like rotating drummers a good bit, but we finally have one who's like been sticking around, who's like a really awesome person, and it's because it's funny. We've had over 30 drummers because I hate to say it because we were like touring a lot. We were on the road, and they just really couldn't take the time off or whatever, or either that, or they couldn't really make practices or shows. Or there have been times where they would cancel shows last minute, and we had to be scrambling. It was a mess.
What have you been doing in the last year since the lockdown with the pandemic and everything?
Well, we've been like, it's funny. We've wrote a couple new songs, and now that shows are coming back, we just got signed to an independent label called Freak Machine Records, which Renee Phoenix, a Fit for Rivals, owns. So it's been pretty good for us, I guess, because we've been writing more. Like we've kind of changed our sound. I mean, I guess for us, like we really like to switch it up a bit with every single song because if sometimes we've noticed, none of our songs really sound the same. And we're going to put out an EP at some point, and when it comes out, like, all these songs sound somewhat different from each other. And I guess with the lockdown or whatever, I really, like, found my voice and found my look and my sound, which it took the time to really, like, find who I really was in life, basically. I'm sorry if I'm not making any sense.
The label just hunted you down, or did you go to the label? How did that happen?
Well, we played with Fit for Rivals back in 2015, I think, back in Mississippi, and Renee like absolutely loved our band, and she moved to Nashville during lockdown. She lived in LA, but she moved to Nashville because like everything was like crazy over there. So she wanted to move to Nashville because like the music scene's better and it's a lot more affordable. And we've been talking for a good bit, and she was starting her own label, and she asked us like, hey, would you like to be on our label? And we're like, we'd love to, because we were trying to get on these bigger labels, but at the same time, we want to have a say with our look, our sound, and how we want things to go instead of being told what to do, basically.
You just released Waiting on the Rain, and it's less than a month, and you got almost 21,000 views on that.
It's incredible. Like my bass player keeps sending me things like, oh my god, we've hit 20,000. Oh my god, oh my god. I was like, this is awesome, because we're basically starting from scratch again, because our older songs, we scrapped them from Spotify because it's just not who we are anymore. We're basically having a rebirth of the band, and I just think it's awesome. Like our first single, ever since like the changes that have occurred within the band, and we're doing pretty well. And I'm really excited because like people actually like our band, and I feel like we have a shot. I'm just like, oh my god, like this is awesome.
That song's really catchy, and yeah, I think you guys are starting to find your identity.
It took a while, honestly, because I hate to say it, for a while, I was kind of being like a Haley Williams wannabe. Like, if you've seen the older videos, I used to dress like her and all of that. It's cool and all, don't get me wrong, I still love Haley, but I feel like I now finally found who I am. Like, I want to be Aria. I want to be my own person, and I have some influences, don't get me wrong, but it took a while for me to find who I really was, and I feel like this past year I've finally grown into the person I've been wanting to be for a while.
Change now that cold has found you. Sleep inside the sky slowly surrounds you. Yeah, I'm waiting. Feel my heart like a hurricane. Just a touch is all it takes. Yeah, I'm waiting. Feel my heart like a hurricane. In the cold, I'm waiting on the rain.
Do you plan on releasing a CD anytime soon, or
Yes, actually. I'm not sure when we're gonna release it, but I've been wanting to put out an EP for a while. For now, we're just releasing singles because nobody really does albums anymore. For the most part, it's just EPs. But hopefully, like late 2021 or early 2022, I've been really want to like put out an EP, because right now we're doing single releases, but eventually I want to put all these singles onto an EP. Just It's funny because I wanted to do an EP because I want to create the album cover as well. That's also a good thing about being on an independent label. You get to, have a say in the creative sides, and I've been wanting to create an album cover for a while.
so you guys got a couple songs already recorded and lined up to be released down the road here?
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out like when we can release the next EP, so we can like release it and like do a music video for it and all that fun stuff. But yeah, most of the songs that we have, they're like pre-recorded. There's some songs we need to like have them finalized or like somewhat of a rewrite, but for the most part, all of our songs are like pre-recorded. We're just waiting for them to be released. So fingers crossed.
So that's pretty much what you were doing over the last year. You recorded some songs and stuff probably in the studio.
Yeah, and like the good thing is, we found a label, so we could, because for the longest time we just didn't know how to release it. Like, how are people going to find us? How are we going to promote it? And it's just a little difficult. We didn't know what we were doing, but now that we're on a independent label, we kind of have more. They're kind of like guiding us on what we should do and like how we should release it. Like, not just release it, not have some help or like around it. I don't know.
Yeah, have some direction.
That's the word I'm looking for. I'm sorry. I was like, what's that word? Direction. What? I don't know.
Who are your influences?
I have a lot. I guess right now is definitely old Paramore, like old Paramore, Evanescence, Susie from Susie and the Banshees. I just love her persona, and she was one of the first female punk singers, so I definitely respect her, and she's very powerful on stage. And also, of course, Maynard James Keenan from Tool, because I love his writing style, and his voice can be like very beautiful, but then very aggressive and in your face. That's what I've been trying to do with my vocal technique as well. Like I finally mastered how to sing with rasp, but not to a point where it's like hurting my voice. Thank God, because it took me a while.
I actually saw a medley you guys did up there. You did a Tool song and you did 3 Days Grace and stuff. Is that something that you open up the show with or something like that? Or
Well, we used to do the medley like midway to like in the middle of our set just to kind of get the audience pumped up, but it was it kind of sounded a little weird because there are some songs that were in the same key and then some songs that sounded completely different. So we just scrapped it and we just play like one or two covers now just for fun, but I would love to play a complete Tool song at some point, but I don't know if my bandmates are ready for that because playing Tool songs are very, very difficult.
now, have you guys been playing out at all in the last year or no?
Here and there, like places that were open, like I live in Tennessee, so it was pretty much open for the most part. But now we're on a booking agency called Blind Anxiety Entertainment, and they've really been helping us out with playing shows. Now that everything's open again, we have the ability to actually tour, But right now we're just doing Weekend Warrior stuff just to test the waters because to be honest, we've never really done a full tour, like a full month tour. We've only been doing Weekend Warrior stuff, but we're just trying to start slowly to see how we do, instead of like going from 0 to 100.
Well, your new song is doing really well.
Thank you so much. I'm glad it is because I was a little nervous, like, oh, I really hope people like this song, but we're getting a lot of good positive feedback, which is awesome.
Have you like been freaking out at the number of views and stuff like that?
I was just like, oh my, this is awesome because I'm just like, I just didn't realize how much hype it was getting. It was just awesome.
What have you currently been listening to as far as music? Anything new out there we should know about?
I guess with me, I've listened to the some of the new Deftones songs that came out, like Deftones album. I've also been listening to a lot of post punk too. Like there's a lot of cool like newer post punk bands like She Passed Away, Lebanon Hanover, Boy Harsher, Twin Tribes, and like Moshadoma. Like a lot of like stuff that we don't really play, but I'm kind of influenced by it, and I would love to like kind of have that influence in there. Like I've definitely been experimenting with different sounds, but I'm the only one who listens to that kind of music. The guys are more into like hard rock and post hardcore. I've kind of like listening to different types of music, kind of testing the waters with different types. Like experiment. I love to experiment now. I used to be really stubborn in my ways, but now I'm starting to calm down.
Now, how do you guys go about writing songs? Somebody come up with a riff, or do you have like words already wrote and you write around that, or what?
For the most part, like the guys will be playing around with a riff or whatever, and if it sounds really cool, like they'll record it and send it to me, and I'll be writing lyrics, just because I like to hear the riff, like hear the music and see what kind of vibe it has. If it's depressing or if it's like angry or like brooding, like I just I want to hear the mood and like set the tone so I'll know what to write about, basically.
What was the first song you learned how to sing? Would that be like that one where you're on stage for your first audition? Is that
I think that was it. Yeah, it's kind of awkward, but yeah, the first song I actually sang was The Little Mermaid.
So there's no tour plans in the future.
Actually, yes. Well, if you count like weekend shows, because um, in 2 weeks from now we're going to be playing Indiana, Ohio, and West Virginia. We've never played those areas before, but being on a booking agency, we're starting to play like states we've never played before. Like we played Texas before, of course, but we're playing different venues and all that cool stuff, basically.
And you're gonna just do it solo, or are you gonna jump on with another band?
We're jumping on with other bands. There's a band called Roses and Red that's also on Blind Anxiety Entertainment, and we've been touring with them a good bit, so which is really awesome. We're not really ready to tour solo just yet.
You're gonna try to have an album out by late 2021.
I'm crossing my fingers. I really, really hope it happens.
Where can we get a hold of you guys? Websites, Facebook, Instagram.
Yes, we do have a website. It's called um, tolarock.com, like TOLA, tolarock.com. There's tour announcements, there's merch, there's social media updates. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram as well, which is really cool. And also Spotify and Apple Music. Sorry.
Is there anything else you'd like to talk about before we go here?
I'm just happy that things are going back to normal, and we're starting to play shows again, and we're on basically trying to get our name out there. We're on a booking agency. We're finally on an independent label, like just trying to get our names out there. I basically want to tour anywhere in the world, just to have fun and just play all these awesome shows and hopefully play some festivals at some point. And I'm really happy that we're getting so much support from our very first single, just one single, and we're already like blowing up in a way. Just I really appreciate everybody that's taking the time to believe in us and support us, and we love each and every one of you guys.